I'm Melissa Irizarry, and I am a master's student just finishing up. I've been working with Darren Mueller and Steve Whittam, and our project has been on soybean vein necrosis virus. This virus was recently discovered in 2008, 2009, and since then it's been found in all of the soybean growing areas in North America, so the US and Canada. And so with this rapid spread, it was really important to try and figure out what is happening. Should farmers be concerned? Is there yield loss associated with this virus? Is there any change in seed quality? And that was one aspect of my research that we just finished up and wrote a paper on. Soybean vein necrosis virus, or SVNV, is spread by a tiny insect called thrips. It causes a local lesion on the soybean plant, so it doesn't spread throughout the entire plant. So we worked with Alabama, Delaware, Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin, in addition to the data we collected here in Iowa. And to collect this data, we went out into the field and looked for places that had infection with SVNV, and then marked those plants, collected information on how much disease was on each plant, and then we went back at harvest time and collected the plants and brought them back to the lab. In the lab, we collected information on how many seeds there were per plant, how big those seeds were, and yield, and then we also sent them away to another lab to get analyzed for the amount of content of oil, protein, and then fatty acids, including palmitic, stearic, oleic, linoleic, and linolenic. Those two sound alike. As far as yield was concerned, we did not see any indication of any loss. However, there did seem to be some changes in seed quality. So the results that came back from the lab showed that there was a decrease in the amount of oil in relation to the amount of infection. For example, in Iowa, there was a 0.11 or 0.11% decrease in the amount of oil for every 1% increase in the amount of infection. So changes in things like protein, oils, fatty acids are very important for soybean farmers because they can actually get paid premiums if their soybeans have certain levels. So palmitic acid is considered undesirable, and you want to have less of that. You want to have higher levels of oil and protein because that's the major factors for the uses of the soybean. Soybean is one of the main oilseed crops in the world, and it's also fed as a source of protein for humans, such as tofu, or also as animal feed. So those oils and proteins are really, really important to the farmer. And then they can also sometimes be paid extra, I believe, for oleic acid if it's higher. And then they also want less levels of linolenic acid because it actually makes the food taste poorly. It, I guess, has a very distinguishable taste, so they actually have to process that out if the levels are too high. So these results could really make a big impact if the SVNV was changing those levels in soybeans and possibly, causing a real problem for soybean growers. I'd like to thank Iowa Soybean Association for funding this research.